Hey everyone, I'm Andy Rafael from eTeknix.com. Now recently, as you may know, ASUS actually held an event based around the Z390 launch, which at the time of watching this, the embargo kind of has lifted, at least for the Z390 chipset. Can't actually say too much about the processors, which are obviously the Intel 9th Gen processors, but that's something that's going to come in about 10 days time. So obviously be sure to check that out on eTeknix.com and obviously on here on our YouTube channel as well. Now, what I do want to talk about is the event that we actually went to. So we went to the Red Bull Gaming Sphere in London and we checked out exactly what was on offer. And trust me, there's a lot of motherboards to go through. So let's do this. So first up, we have the WS Z390 Pro. This has a very sort of unique premium look and feel with a black and gunmetal color scheme, like we've kind of seen before on some of their previous generation boards. This is going to be aimed more at productivity and editing. Now it does have 4 PCI Express X16 lanes, which is going to be perfect for those who are doing things like video editing and rendering, because generally when you get 4 PCI Express lanes on a motherboard, they don't normally operate at X16. With this motherboard, they actually do. Now pricing, well, there actually isn't any at the moment, but we can expect this to be kind of relative to where some of the previous workstation boards were that we've seen in other generations. Next up, we have the Prime Z390A. Now, as you know, with the Prime motherboards, they do go for a slightly different color scheme. So style-wise, it does stick with kind of what we've expected from a Prime board, with the white accented heat sinks and shrouds. It's aimed at doing more than just gaming. With a rumoured 9th Gen 8-core processor, the Prime will be perfect for those wanting to do lots of productivity without taking away any of the frills that you'd get. Consider it along with the WS Z390 Pro as something aimed for professionals. It has 3 X16 slots, 6 SATA ports, and a nice overall look that will fit in well. Now pricing on this particular motherboard is £182 MSRP in the UK, so that's around $240 in the US. Pretty affordable, I think, in the grand scheme of things. Next up, we have the TUF Gaming line of motherboards, which I'm sure you agree really do add their own unique aesthetics to it. So starting with the Z390 Plus Gaming Wi-Fi. It features that industrial looking PCB, 1 X16 slot, and what I think was 8 SATA ports, but I can't actually remember for definite. As the name suggests, this has Wi-Fi included, which is part of the Z390 chipset. Now, being part of the TUF range means you can pair it with other products in the TUF Gaming Alliance. So priced at around £167 in the UK, that's going to be about $220 in the US. Not a bad price considering what you get, and definitely with the whole unique colour scheme. If you're looking at pairing it up with some TUF Gaming Alliance memory, this is going to be the one to go for. Next up is the TUF Z390 Pro Gaming. Very similar, and it does feature a similar colour scheme, 2 X16 slots, and again 8 SATA ports, or at least that's what I remember. Priced at £170 in the UK, that's around $221 in the US. Now, this is a small jump from the Plus Wi-Fi, but you will lose the Wi-Fi functionality in favour of, well, another PCI Express X16 lane. So really it depends on what you're going to need, the Wi-Fi or the extra bandwidth and another lane. Going slightly smaller but still sticking in the TUF range, we have the Z390M Pro Gaming Wi-Fi. Now, as the name would suggest, it does feature Wi-Fi on board, and it also features a micro-ATX form factor. Even though it is a small form factor board, it does include 2 X16 slots and 6 SATA ports. And this is certainly, at least in my opinion, a full feature pack board considering its size. It's priced at £160 in the UK or $208 in the US, and it's probably one of my favourite boards that I saw, just purely down to the sheer size of it and cramming that many features into it. Let us know in the comments section if you agree with my thoughts. So moving away from the TUF Gaming lineup, let's move and talk about the Strix lineup, starting with the Z390 H Gaming. Now the Z390 H Gaming features a black and red colour scheme, which will certainly be welcomed by gamers, and keeping that graffiti-esque style that we've seen before on previous boards. Feature-wise, we have 2 X16 slots and 6 SATA ports, as well as 2 M.2 slots. Priced in at about £193 in the UK and $250 in the US, it's kind of where we expected it to be, at least for the H Gaming sort of range of motherboards. Next up is the Z390 Gaming. Very, very similar in names, but a few slight differences. Now with this motherboard, it features a slightly more subtle color scheme with black and gunmetal gray accents, the same graffiti styling, and overall, just a nice look that will pair well in any system. Spec-wise, we have 6 SATA ports, 2 X16 slots, and again 2 M.2 slots. Now, memory support on this is 4,266 MHz, but obviously could be pushed further if you decide to overclock even further than that. Priced at £212 in the UK, which is about $276 in the US. It's kind of a nice middle ground, and I'm actually guessing this is probably going to be the board that most people are going to go for if they are looking for a Strix range of motherboards, something that kind of gives you the best of everything for a reasonable price point. Next up after that is the Z390 Gaming. So again, very, very similar. It offers a similar design feature set, but does include Wi-Fi. So therefore the price does come in just that little bit more. It's priced at £228 in the UK, which is about $297 in the US. So you're basically paying about another £15 or $20 just to get that extra Wi-Fi functionality. So if you are after that, you know, I guess really it is worth it, because when you look at Amazon for Wi-Fi dongles, you're probably going to pay about the same, £15, $20. So at least in my opinion, I'd say it's definitely worth it. Now, next up with the Strix lineup of motherboards is probably one of my favorites. Now, this is the Z390 Gaming. As the name suggests, it is a mini ITX motherboard. So we are featuring a mini ITX form factor, and the color scheme is very, very similar to the rest of the kind of Strix lineup. Obviously, it has plenty of RGB to keep even the most extreme of gamers happy. Feature-wise, for a mini ITX board, we do have a lot. We have Wi-Fi included, 4 SATA ports, 2 M.2 slots, and a single X16 slot. Now, this will look great in any small form factor build, especially with that included RGB on the back kind of side of the board. Now, price-wise, we're looking at £217 in the UK and around $283 in the US. I mean, it's not cheap, but find me a mini ITX motherboard that has this amount of features that is cheaper than that. You probably won't be able to. Now, moving on from the Strix lineup, we have the ROG range of boards, or ROG, or Republic of Gamers, whatever you want to call it. They are the creme de la creme, the most extreme. So starting with the Maximus XI Hero Wi-Fi. They do produce a non-Wi-Fi model, which is about £22 cheaper if you don't need it, so please keep that in mind. The design features a black and gunmetal colour scheme with reflective styling. There is also a Call of Duty Black Ops 4 edition, which also features a cool skull motif that is reflective as well. Now, this looks pretty bitchin', I do have to be honest. Some people are going to like it, some people are going to hate it. Really, it's down to personal preference. It does also include some subtle lighting across the heatsink. It features 2 PCI Express X16 lanes, 6 SATA ports, and plenty of ample cooling around the CPU socket for even the most extreme overclockers. Memory support is up to 4,400 MHz when overclocked. It also features a built-in I/O shield plate, which, I'll be honest, I've been wanting this for so long. We've seen it a few times on various different motherboards that I've got behind me, but I'm starting to see it more and more, and I'm hoping that's the way that the market trend is actually going to be going. Now, moving on and looking at some of the other ROG boards, we have the Maximus XI Code. Now, this incorporates a huge shielded area around the expansion slots. This all lights up with RGB, of course, and looks very premium. It includes 2 PCI Express X16 slots and, from what I remember, 6 SATA ports. Again, aimed at enthusiasts and hardcore overclockers, it does carry quite a high price at £360 in the UK, which is about $470 in the US. I mean, there is plenty of passive cooling around the CPU socket as well, so this should be a strong board for getting those really high overclocks. And therefore, in my opinion, I think it does demand that slightly higher price point. Next up in the lineup, we have the Maximus XI Formula, which features similar styling to the Code, but with some more extreme cooling options, including the water channel around the CPU socket, derived in collaboration with EK, so that you can utilize the board and integrate it with your own custom loop. This again means you're able to push the boundaries when it comes to overclocking. Price-wise, you might want to sit down for this one. £423-ish in the UK, which is a stonking $548 in the US. I mean, it was never going to be cheap. It's a formula board. They've always been stupidly expensive, but look at what you get for your money. Extreme styling as well as the features to boot. Now, not for the faint-hearted, but a spectacle I'm sure you agree is the cool stuff that's going on in the middle of the board. It's basically an animated screen that displays various logos and information. Now, we didn't get a huge chance to kind of have a play around with this, but I'm pretty sure you can probably get it to display pretty much anything you want. At least that's what I'm hoping for. It just gives you that extra kind of customizability. So we'll see what happens when we do get that board in for review. Feature-wise, it includes 2 PCI Express X16 slots, 6 SATA ports, and memory support up to 4400 MHz when overclocked. Now, moving up even further in the ranks is the Maximus XI Extreme. Clues in the name, it's extreme, so let's go through them features. Firstly, there is no word on pricing on this one just yet, but expect it to be very rich indeed. It has 2 X16 slots, 6 SATA ports, 4400 MHz memory support, and a whole host of features in the hardware and BIOS that will assist in overclocking. It has a slot next to the DDR4 memory for the DIMM.2 M.2 riser card, giving obviously further functionality for those needing storage options. It has some quite subtle styling and branding, but it all looks very premium and stylish. Expect to see a lot of builds with this and a full water block, so I'm sure EK and Bits Power and other brands out there will be coming out with something, but is it going to look like a cassette tape this time? Come on, we all remember that one. Maximus XI, I think it was. Last but not least, ASUS have decided to do something that I think a lot of us have been waiting for a very, very long time. They have finally brought the Gene motherboard back. So we have the Maximus XI Gene. For those who don't know what a Gene board is, let me tell you a little bit about it. This board features a micro-ATX form factor, but that doesn't mean it skimps on the features. Firstly, there is no word on pricing, but we have our theories that it won't be cheap. As I said, it includes a micro-ATX design and simply looks stunning. It has some really premium finishes and just overall looks amazing. It features a single X16 slot and 4 SATA ports. Anyone who's used a Gene board before will appreciate how special they really are. Supporting 4600 MHz plus memory, it's crazy how much performance can be pushed through these motherboards. I mean, I'm really looking forward to getting this one. Firstly, they look great, and secondly, just seeing how far I can actually push memory, processor, because you got to think, micro-ATX form factor, you could really slap something quite special on there. Maybe custom loop. Maybe I could do something really cool with that. We'll speak to ASUS and hopefully get some of these boards in very soon. Now, I do know that we have got some boards in at the moment for written review, and they're up with Peter, and he's going to be producing some reviews on them. Firstly, he has got some previews on these to sort of accompany with this video. That's going to be released at the time you're watching this, but for the full reviews with all the performance and everything else, that is going to be on the 19th of October. So be sure to obviously subscribe, where I'll have some content on that, and also check out eTeknix.com then as well. If you like this type of video, let me know in the comment section below. Remember to subscribe, click that little bell icon, and also give us a thumbs up. And I will see you in the next video. See you later.